If you're worried about whether or not your child is in the wrong preschool environment, then this is definitely the video for you. In it, I'm going to be talking about the signs and ways my daughter deteriorated that were bigger than going through a toddler or preschooler developmental milestone while at a school that was no longer a good match for her. And just in case you're new here, my name is Rachel from The Confused Mom. Welcome to my channel. I share baby and toddler product reviews, activities, as well as Montessori at home tips, and I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old. I have an entire series I'll link in the description box below on Montessori versus Waldorf for much deeper dive on the details of both of these. These are sometimes things that we try to justify to ourselves that it's just a phase our child is going through because we don't want to deal with the headache and hassle of having to find a new school. But in some cases, it can mean a larger issue at play and it is well worth addressing. So keep in mind, kids have a transitional period when they have something new. So I'm talking more so if this is going on past a month. I mean, really, if it's going on more than 2 weeks, but we'll be generous here and say past a month. So one of the things I would first pay attention to is your child coming home lit up and excited about the day, or are they coming home withdrawn and depleted of energy? Now, this is not to say that they can't come home tired from school one day, especially in the first week or two. That would be very normal. But what I'm saying is if there is a sudden change, like my daughter was extremely excited to start school and she was coming home excited, and then there was a sudden change in her. If your child is also asking to not go to school every day, that's a huge thing. Once in a blue moon, I get, but if it is persisting for weeks, maybe there is something going on and wrong at the school, but sometimes it really is just not a good fit for your kid. That would be concerning. The other thing is a little bit more abstract. My daughter's a bit of a perfectionist. What I found after she was in a Montessori school for 4 or 5 months or so, she started to become really anxious when we were doing certain crafts or activities at home and whether or not they were being done right. She often was starting to ask to look at a picture, which was weird. And again, this is where I say not all Montessori schools are created equal. And I found that to be just not something I wanted for her, particularly in creative projects. I found that the school in particular was not doing a good enough job in an age-appropriate way addressing typical toddler emotions that come up with getting something wrong. So around frustration, disappointment, and things like that. And I will say that is an extremely hard thing to find and a very important question to ask the school when you are touring. Now, what I'm talking about here has a lot more to do with the school and the teacher than the pedagogy. At the end of the day, I actually do think most kids can adapt to either a Montessori or a Waldorf setting. And I don't think either one is better or worse than the other, despite how some of these videos may have skewed. I just think that there's very little information about Waldorf out there, so I found myself arguing for the underdog, so to speak. What I actually think is the most important thing is finding the right match for your child and your family and keeping a close eye on your child to see how they are doing. In my experience, when your child is in the right place, there will be a noticeable positive change in their behavior that's undeniable. You'll see it in their creativity at home and their willingness to help out in the home. When a school is not a match, they will typically cling to you a lot more, become much more whiny, may even start pretending to act more like a baby. You could even see them struggling more to figure out what the rules or boundaries are in the home. There could just be an added level of confusion that you thought had previously been sorted out. Now, that last one could also just be a developmental leap they're going through, but it's the culmination of all of these things to consider. If you've experienced your child in a school that was not a good match for you or your family, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Share some insight with other parents as well. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss more videos in my Montessori versus Waldorf series. Next one, I'm going to be talking about how we're handling reading, writing, and math now that my daughter's no longer in a Montessori setting. In the meantime, be sure to go back, catch up on past videos in this series, and as always, my name's Rachel. Have a good one.